There was once a dream I had. Nothing uncommon about the place or events there, except everything was darker and discolored. Suddenly, I understood that we are born and die alone. And I don't mean logically. It was like a bleak revelation. Sometimes this feeling of loneliness returns, but not for long anymore. Now, there is always someone who distracts me from this feeling. And how did it even happen that I have friends to spend time with? I want to share my story, a journey that might resonate with those of you struggling with loneliness. It's not a formula, but a reflection of how I've grown, piece by piece, from someone who felt isolated to someone who finally found connection. If it helps even one person, it's worth it. First level of opening to people. And the first time I realized my problem, I come from a background of nervousness, social anxiety, overthinking, and compulsive thoughts. Growing up in a family where arguments were common, I was taught that the world was full of dangerous, stupid, or bad people. It left me with strong introversion and a lot of fear. In my country, you finish elementary school around 14 to 15, and after doing so, I was left with huge relief that I am finally from a place that felt mostly like a jail for minors. That was when I hit a turning point. Sitting on a tree trunk at my grandma's garden, I asked myself a hard question. Why didn't anyone like me? The truth hit me hard. I was snarky, self-centered, and did not care about others' interests. Sure, my school was toxic, but my attitude made it worse. And so I decided, heading into high school, I had to change my attitude. Even if I had to fake it at first, I tried being interested in what others liked and stopped putting them down. I didn't magically become popular, but I became a person people didn't mind talking to. For the first time, life was a little enjoyable. Now, with some good basics to go with, I was to be taught by life how to level up even more. In my early 20s, I made my first lifelong friend, but even then, I struggled to belong. The group I hung out with saw me as a weird, funny satellite who occasionally did dumb things while drunk. I still suffered from being awkward, sometimes insensitive, and without feeling of being wanted. But a couple of years after that came my first proper long-term job, and I had to be a hotel receptionist. Here I had to talk to people, guests, bosses, coworkers. I learned to start conversations, even about things I didn't care much about. It taught me the first rule of connection. Be open and approachable. Don't judge too much. Being forced to act friendly and talk without true motivation to do so gave me two important skills. The first is surface-level communication, as not every conversation needs to be deep, but it may still lead somewhere. Second is relatability. Even if you hate small talk, people want to be seen, heard, and known, but we are inherently strangers and have to feel secure first before we open more. Just imagine the scenario of two people at grocery store bumping into each other with trolleys. First instinct marks stranger as an enemy, and conflict arises. But doesn't always need to deepen. They may head for same discounted items, exchange their story of why they want it, what got them distracted, and some minor info about them, and suddenly it changes into a pleasant conversation. One of the breaking points of finding friends or dating is when stranger danger zone vanishes, as familiarity is a strong factor of bonding. So let me give you some tips how to get there. As we all know that small talk is often a blind spot, that may lead nowhere. First tip is, reiterate what they said so it signals that you pay attention, then add something to it. Example, if they mention how they love coffee with milk, I would say how I am as well hooked on that smooth and mild version of that addictive drink. But sometimes it doesn't sit well in my stomach and I don't know why, which gives option to continue about coffee or health. Even thought it makes sense to avoid too much detail about your digestion. Ask more questions to give other people options to react. While staying on the topic of coffee and milk, I could say,
Yeah, you seem to really like coffee with milk. But don't you sometimes rather go for the good old dark roast? Because I definitely do it kind of often.
I just branch the convo for new option while let the other person open themselves more about their preference. Add your ideas and experience even if you lack expertise, so you don't stay silent. They may tell you how many brands of coffee are not even of quality that is worth tasting it on its own. I would reply something like this.
I am no coffee tasting expert, but I still find some brands that feel just right. And therefore, I may recommend some.
Charm people with off-topic friendly remarks, politeness, and well-meant jokes. After coffee talk, I could say stuff like,
I gotta go, but you just made me want some good brew. So next time we talk over one.
or I could crack a joke about how I am already jittery enough from those I already had today. It doesn't matter if it sounds corny, dry, or melodramatic, if you say it in a friendly, lighthearted way, with smile, so no hard feelings stem from it. You are directive and upfront in a way that makes people feel easy and safe. Imagine someone in your job taking a walk between stuff you visibly put there, meaning they didn't consider bumping into something or tripping over it. If you say something like,
Don't go that way. I don't want anyone to hurt themselves or damage stuff.
some people could be offended by direct language. Some could get stressed by their mistake. But you can alleviate their bad feelings by saying, for example, it's okay as long as you don't hurt yourself. There is no conflict or aggression in this statement. Next time, that person may go around and greet you with a smile for being in control but friendly. My second job at a retail return desk was another level up. By then, I had learned to act sociably, but I still didn't like people much. This time I worked on enjoying the company of positive, good-natured people, even if they weren't the smartest or most interesting. I realized that building relationships isn't about grand gestures. It's about small, consistent exchanges. Agreeing on something, sharing a laugh, or giving a genuine compliment. Letting people get familiar with you over time. My decision was to be more out there for anyone who wants to meet me halfway. And as always, last and most important thing was time, both for getting social experience and getting to know others. The final piece of the puzzle came with experience. I used to want everything all at once, whether it was falling in love or building a social life. But I learned that trust and connection grow in pieces. Spend time with people, even if it's just for casual fun, and don't ask for deep bond from the get-go. Don't expect too much too soon. Not everyone will be your best friend. Some people are drinking buddies. Others might become lifelong companions. That's to be figured out. And as a result, following happened. At 30, I threw myself a birthday party thinking no one would come. To my surprise, I had more guests than I could handle, proof that all those small efforts added up. So if loneliness feels like a prison, here are key points of what helped me to break out. Spend time with people regularly. Time is the foundation of connection. Find common ground. Relationships grow where interests and values overlap. Be useful and positive. Help out, share good energy, and let people feel comfortable around you. Communicate consistently. This is the environment where all relationships thrive. No single person will meet all your needs, but being open to knowing people, even just a little, can lead to deeper bonds over time. If this changed your view in any way, feel free to leave a like or comment.